welcome Peter Priel. He's going to talk a little bit here, and I'll let you introduce on top. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to speak about tiles again, and about the project which we developed for NOAA, which you can use to host dynamic maps for free quite easily. I'm from a small Swiss company called Quantum GIS, where we work on OpenLayers 3, for example, on regional visualizations, raster tiling as well as vector tiling, and developing new open source technologies for various clients, as well as providing consultancy in this area. Whenever you work with maps online, which are tenable, in fact you are looking at tiles as these. So the whole world is cut into distinguished pieces where every pixel has assigned location, in this case for the Mercator, and you know where you are with every image which you position somewhere on the place. And in fact, you have two ways how to generate these images, because each of these are really individual PNG or JPEG files. One way is the dynamic, traditional old style school, the OGC WMTS, where you install something on your software and the raw data, the shape files, TIFFs and so on are processed during the request, so that when people are accessing your server, the data are branched and generated to the people. The other approach is the pre-rendering, where you in fact the raw data which you hold on your computer are pre-processed before they are put online, and this is the approach which we are speaking about, and which has been recently 2 years ago standardized under OGC WMTS. There are several advantages and several disadvantages. The list is quite long. In general, if you are pre-processing, you have more time to do the work well. So you can use more advanced algorithms for making the maps beautiful. And once the maps are prepared, it's quite easily scalable. So if you have 10,000 of simultaneous visitors on your website, the pre-rendering is the right approach, definitely, because all these people will access the data, and you need to screen them very fast, and this is what the pre-rendering approach gives you as an advantage. The other advantage is you can use cloud, various services for hosting the dynamic interactive maps, and this comes with agreements which very often the companies have for the website. So as soon as your website is running, your interactive maps are running as well. This may be a very important advantage for hosting the interactive maps. There are also disadvantages. If the data are changing very often, you have to re-render all the time and transfer the data. There are disadvantages in the storage, which is recently coming. It's not that important anymore. If you are rendering the tiles, typically you render them into a folder, or you render them into some kind of package. In the folder you have directly the images. In the package it's the same, it's just wrapped. You can imagine it as a zip file, and this is something what is now being standardized under OGC as GeoPackage. So it's a standard where you can in fact now be involved and improve the standardization process and make it better. If you look into the folder, typically there are zoom levels and then X, Y coordinates for the tiles and the individual images. You can then quite easily prepare a viewer, like in Google Maps, OpenLayers, Leaflet, as you heard, for previewing these images. And if you upload such a folder into a web server, the same way like you're uploading PDF files or anything else on the web, you get the same interactive functionality for viewing the maps. This means if you have existing server which is powered by whatever of these technologies, Apache, Lightyear, Windows IIS server, you can use it without installing any additional software to have the zoomable maps. The same way you can upload the folder to the cloud and and have the maps distributed from various endpoints. So as we have seen in the first presentation, the maps are then copied all over the world so that they are close to the visitors and they appear faster than if they are from a single server at a single location. You can use even free services like Dropbox or Google Drive to host your mashups and zoomable maps. Typically, if you upload the maps in this way, you have to access these through some long address, and you have to code into the client the boundary, for example, what part of Earth is covered by my map. That's coded into the mashup in JavaScript or in some servers, and that's bad. So there is something called TileJSON which is solving this, but hey, wait a moment. There is also a standard, the OGC WMTS, which do exactly this. So our target was to, if we have the tiles on the server somewhere as a folder with images, how to turn them into true WMTS, which is usable by various clients, including desktop ArcGIS viewers and qgis and all the different infrastructure for warping the maps and using them, overlaying and so on in different map projections on the client side. This is all possible if you add just a few textual information on the server as well, the metadata about the tiles. And this open source project, which you can find on GitHub and contribute to, is doing exactly this. In fact, we are working on this together with NOAA, and the project was applied on Hurricane Sandy response imagery. So they were flying up to the Hurricane Sandy with the airplanes, taking aerial photos of the areas which were destroyed by the hurricane, and these tiles are in fact pre-rendered with MapTiler and published through WMTS via the TileServer PHP. The way that people did not recognize that they are not using ArcGIS or another commercial softwares, they were in fact accessing the tiles through this system, and it has been much stable, more stable than with the mentioned commercial alternative. The idea of TileServer PHP is quite easy. You just copy the folder with images to the Apache server or somewhere where you have hosting this PHP, and next to that you copy the 5 files which are available as in zip on the project file, and what it makes is it creates the viewer, and you get the WMTS endpoints, so you can access the maps through WMTS. Here's some example. First, we render the tiles. This is with a client called MapTiler, where you can choose which tiles you want to render. You drop in GeoTIFF or ECW or any other format. You can adjust the coordinate system, which you probably know, or it's loaded from the GeoTIFF. It gives you preview where the image is, and then you choose what kind of tiles you want to render on which zoom levels, and you wait a bit, and the process finishes, and you end with a folder on a disk or the archive, the package with the tiles, and you can preview the map inside of this software with the folder. So once you get to this point, you can get to this point also with GeoTIFF, for example, or with TileMill, or with other open source projects. Once you are here, you just upload the tiles to the server, and you can download this from this link. And if you type into Google TileServer -PHP and download the zip file in the bottom right corner, that's what you need to put next to the tiles. And once this is online, you get this. So for the tiles I uploaded three tile sets. You get preview tile. If you click on Grand Canyon, it gives you sample viewers in different open source projects. So or different viewer clients, including Google Maps API, the Leaflet, and we are going to add more. There's OpenLayers viewer as well. So you can kind of like compare what are the advantages with one click you can see and preview the source code as well, and copy and paste it to your website, and that's a great start for starting coding what you want to code on top of your own GeoTIFF or on top of your own geodata which you downloaded or created. The same way, if you scroll down on the right side, you will get the desktop viewers and step-by-step guide how to load this particular map into QGIS, into ArcGIS version 9, 10, and so on. So there is, it's quite standard way how to load it. So those are the supported protocols and supported clients we were testing in the various desktop GIS clients, and this was kind of like reverse engineering of implementation of WMTS by different providers. And that's now open source in this project. And if you want to get the MapTiler, the software I shown for tiling the GeoTIFF or other geodata, open geodata or geodata you create in any map projection system, you can download it from MapTiler.com. And the open source alternatives are like GeoTIFF, which I created for Google as a project, student project a couple of years ago, and TileMill system recently used quite a lot. Okay, to close the presentation, here are some examples of who used GeoTIFF and MapTiler on which project, so you know who is on the board. Google rendered aerial photos during the big fires in Australia with MapTiler and GeoTIFF and hosted these. So the people were in fact watching 1 hour after the plane landed. They were watching where are the fires, and if they were afraid if their family or house in the location, to check where exactly are the fires spreading. There are a couple of commercial applications like signal coverage maps and visualization of scientific data done by various institutions. European Commission is using this as well. Commercial companies are pre-rendering the tiles and putting it online. The advantage is that you really can handle with normal hosting, normal ordinary Windows server. You can handle a huge amount of visitors, and the maps are really fast. So if your data are not changing, this is probably a way how to stream the maps. This is an example where National Library of Scotland rendered the whole United Kingdom down to zoom level 16, so to street level, and they are providing it as a free alternative to Google Maps, so people can use it in mesh apps, in mobile applications, and other in GIS system to put their own markers and historical data on top of the historical background, which is missing, of course, on the commercial providers. So this is an example, and they are able to run it for free because of this system. If they would purchase ESRI software, they would probably not be able. This is another sample. David Ramsey is pre-rendering the tiles of his largest historical privately held map collection in the world with MapTiler as well. Thank you all for your attention. Those are the links which if you are interested, you should probably know. Thank you.